Hi everybody, this is Annalie, the Fragrance Queen, coming at you with another video. Hey, I'm on my break. I want to sneak in a quick video, but I just wanted to talk about tithing and why I am a tither, why I believe in giving, and no condemnation here. If you don't give, if you don't tithe, that's between you and the Lord. I'm just here to give my testimony, okay? So I just want to start off by saying I have not always been a tither. When my children were smaller, they're now 28, 25, and 17, and I have people that can attest. I have a really good friend of mine actually who can attest to this. I mean, we struggle check to check. I've been on the county. At one point, I was getting food stamps, all the county programs, all the things. Like, you know, the programs are there for a reason. I said all that to say that over time, I started learning how to just put my faith and trust in the Lord, and a little bit at a time. I started giving, and as the Lord began to increase me, I began to give more and more and more. And a lot of the jobs that I've had, my career moves, God has always promoted me, put me in places I should have been in. I should not have necessarily been in, but because of the skills that He helped me attain, the tithing and favor, He put me in jobs that really most of the time required a degree. So anyway, I said all that to say that at 45 years old, single mom, decided to go back to school. This was probably 6-7 years ago. Decided to go back to school. I was just tired. I wanted to go back to school and get my bachelor's in social work. I also wanted to go into the master's program. And so by the grace of God, I just felt the Lord pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And guys, when I thought about the student loan debt that was going to come along with that, I didn't want to do it because I didn't want any type of debt hanging over my head. I wanted to buy a home. I wanted, there's just other things I wanted to do. And so to make a long story short, I felt led by the Lord to go back to school. This was before the pandemic. I started going to school, finished my bachelor's during the pandemic. After that, then I went straight into the master's program. I'm working full time the whole time, right? And I'm looking at the student loan debt. And if any of you guys know what that looks like, especially when you don't get a lot of government or, like FAFSA or grants or whatever, you might get some grants and things like that. But a lot of it comes through student loans, and a lot of mine was student loans. And I kind of figured, well, when I graduate, I'm going to have probably a little bit over $100,000 in student loans to pay back. And sure enough, that is what happened. And, so I said all that to say that about 6 to 9 months ago, I had applied for income-driven repayment, consolidated my loans. I had about 19 different loans, guys. That's just how it works. Every new semester, every new quarter, you apply for classes. Or however you apply for the FAFSA and the loans, they disperse them accordingly or whatever. So to make a long story short, I graduated with over $100,000 in student loan debt. And I had concluded in my mind, I'm likely going to die with this student loan debt. And continue to pay my tithes, continue to be faithful in tithing. And I also have been working in social service probably about 22, 23 years. So everywhere I've ever worked is a public, what they call it, public service or nonprofit, whatever. So I did the PSLF forms diligently. I mean, I had to do probably about 8 of them. So these are jobs back, some of them 7, 10, 15, 20 years. I had to track down HR, who the form needed to be sent to, the correspondence, the email, all the things. And everyone was really supportive, very professional, and got the forms done and back to FAFSA, within a week at the most. And a couple of them I did have to follow up on and things like that. So I said all that to say that those forms set on the website for months. And then this whole court thing started, that's been going back and forth. And I just thought, this is just not going to happen. This is just, this whole student loan forgiveness. I know it's happened for some of my friends or coworkers and people that I've known. And I just felt like, well, maybe it's just not going to happen for me. Guys, I get an email like a week and a half ago from FAFSA saying, log in, you have a new notice in your PSLF part of your account or whatever. So I log in and I look at the account and I'm like, this can't be right. It's like in green, congratulations, you've met this obligation, you owe no more payments. And it's got the one part of the loan on the top and the other part of the loan on the bottom, totaling $105,000 some odd dollars. And I'm like, this is not right. This is some kind of glitch. Lord, this can't. So I'm talking to one of my sisters and I'm like, you won't believe what happened. And she's like, yeah, God did that, and I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know if they made a mistake. So guys, I said all that to say that I have been telling everybody, like, do your PSLF, do your income driven repay, whatever you need to do. I am 51. Do you know the amount of pressure that God has taken off of me, knowing that my loans are now paid for? I feel so blessed. And I'm just here to tell you that if you are a tither and you tithe faithfully, because it's by the grace of God, it's not me. Because like I said, I have not always been a tither. It took me time for me to really build my faith. And sometimes we expect immediate results. And sometimes you get immediate results and sometimes you don't. But God just let me know that my tithing was not in vain. My giving was not in vain. So I'm just here to give a testimony, talk about tithing, the importance of it. If you don't believe in tithing, there's no condemnation, no judgment here. I'm just giving my personal testimony. So I would just encourage you, if you're a tither or you're thinking about tithing, and I have other friends too who can tell you some tithing stories about how God has really expanded them financially because of their giving. And I know our relationship with God is not all about giving, but the Bible also says that money answereth all things. And believe me, the amount of burden that this has removed from me as a 51-year-old woman who's raised kids, you know what I mean? Like, I feel so much more free. I don't feel so, restrained by, I got this debt hanging over my head. You know what I mean? So anyway, all glory goes to God. I'm so thankful. I'm so appreciative about what he's done and how God is just so concerned about every area of our lives. And I appreciate him for providing me with an education and making sure that education was paid for. I appreciate God, So anyway, that's just my little testimony. I wanted to get on here and give it. I feel like it's important. I can tell my circle, I can tell my coworkers, but I feel like someone else needs to hear this testimony. Keep tithing, keep giving, okay? And just trust God. And I also want to make sure too, I want to say this last little bit, and I say this by permission, but make sure that wherever you're putting your money, it is good ground. That's something that I would say. Make sure it's good ground. Where I currently give and where I currently fellowship, I know it's good ground. I know it is. So that's why I tithe by faith. I don't worry about what happens to that money. I know it goes to good use. I know people in my church are helped, and I know I'm doing it as unto the Lord. I'm not overly concerned about, well, what's happening with this or I'm just obeying the word. And as a result of the obedience, I believe that's where God has blessed me. So that's not of my own accord. It says that God works in us the will and to do of his good pleasure. So I give all the glory to him. But I just want to encourage you, if you are a giver and you don't see the benefits of your giving right away, just trust God and be patient. Okay, just trust God and be patient because God is faithful. Have a blessed day, guys. Bye.